Are you a homo? No, not you. Griffith, the iconic quote of Guts. But as we all know, Griffith never answered this question. What is he hiding? Is he a homo or is he not? So I figure I step up and answer it for him. Now what makes me qualified to answer this? Am I gay? No. I'm a heterosexual man who has a lot of gay thoughts, to the point my gay friends are shocked that I'm not gay. So I figured I can fairly dissect the heterosexual and homosexual scenes. And many are probably thinking, of course Griffith is a homo. He thought of Guts while sleeping with Charlotte. But what if I tell you that moment is very heterosexual, which I will explain later in the video, as that's what this video is about. I want to look at almost every Griffith scene. Not all of them, as I'm sure you can guess why I won't. But for the scenes I will analyze, I'll take out my gay meter and rank it, and add up all the points to see if Griffith truly is homo. And if he is, how homo is he? Now if you look at my gay meter that I made, I have 4 ranks: straight, semi-gay, gay, and super gay. Pretty self-explanatory, right? The way I'm going to do the point system is like this. A heterosexual person can do 2 gay things without it being gay. It's like baseball. 3 strikes and you're out. This is not me justifying me doing gay actions, by the way. So if Griffith does 3 gay things, his ranking will change in the meter and he will be semi-gay, where one is just dipping their toes onto homosexuality a little, not fully gay yet. So once Griffith does 6 homosexual things, thus he becomes gay. And if Griffith does 15 gay things is when Griffith becomes super gay. One thing many people will be surprised with is that there are many heterosexual Griffith scenes, and I want to mention, those won't subtract his homosexual points. Easy system to understand, right? So let's start with the very first Griffith scene in Berserk, in the Black Swordsman arc, with Griffith ignoring Guts and calling him a petty existence. Some will probably think, pretty heterosexual, but let me offer you a different perspective. You ever been or seen a couple have an ugly breakup? They literally act like Griffith, where they say, I don't care about you anymore, act all happy and nonchalant outside, and then when they are at home, they be crying. This is Griffith. Griffith acting like he doesn't care about Guts makes it very gay, and makes me think Griffith has a Guts poster in his little dimension where he's resting and spies on Guts' entire journey. And I know Griffith is seething when a new hot guy like Roderick joins his party. Thus, Griffith now has 1 gay point, 2 more and he's semi-gay. Next scene is also in the Black Swordsman arc, with Guts recalling a memory of Griffith opening up to him and telling him his thoughts on the world, and Griffith saying, it's funny, you're the only person I ever spoken to like this. Now this is a straight scene. Many are under the impression that a man opening up to another man is gay, but no, this is some good old bromance. I open up daily to my male friends about which man I find hot, so pretty normal stuff here, and that's what Griffith is doing, showing us that he's not afraid at intimacy when it comes to Guts, further emphasizing the relationship is more than just gay. And what I find so fascinating is we don't get any Guts and Griffith dialogue like this in the actual Golden Age arc, where Griffith opens up about his fears and worries. As it's well known, the biggest problem between Guts and Griffith was how both of them weren't honest and open with each other due to many circumstances, and the fact we got a scene with one being open makes me think it's intentional on Miro's part, as it's depicting how Guts took this intimacy for granted, as it showed Griffith being the one who opened up first to Guts, yet Guts in the Golden Age arc never returned it back and opened about his worries, his fears to Griffith. He just straight up left the Band of the Hawk. But back to the video. After this comes the Golden Age arc, where Guts and Griffith first meet, and the reason Guts and Griffith met was because of Corcus, because he was such a hater that he couldn't let some nobody have all that money Guts got for killing Boss Uso. So he decided to attack him and steal all his money, which I respect, peak hater right there, which then led to Corcus getting his ass kicked, and we get this Griffith scene of him sending Casca to help, and she refused, but then Griffith gave her this look, and this isn't a homosexual or heterosexual scene, this is a misogynistic scene that I wanted to point out. Look at this look he gave Casca. This is a look of a man that hates women. And after Casca loses against Guts, Griffith shows up and they have their first battle ever, and surprisingly, it wasn't gay. It was very tame, with Griffith not really showing any interest in Guts whatsoever, but rather, this scene was meant to show us how Griffith views himself so above Guts, that he was on horse in their first meeting, and not even in equal heights, further depicting their status. Oh, and we get another Griffith misogynistic point, by the way. As we were told, he told Casca, warming up a man is a woman's duty. Misogyny points mean nothing in this video, I just like pointing it out. And after Guts wakes up, Griffith comes to Guts and compliments his sword about how big it is. And we all know Guts' sword can also be a metaphor for his dick. I mean, just read the iconic, it was much too big to be called a sword. So not only did Griffith compliment the size of it, but the way he's holding it is very gay as well. And even in this time period, all warriors should know a man's sword is something precious. And Griffith is holding Guts' sword tenderly, implying something, So this is Griffith's second gay point, and shortly after Griffith takes Guts somewhere quiet for some privacy, and upon arriving he brings up how amazing the view is, and then says the iconic quote, "I want you, Guts." I have seen over and over how this was really gay of Griffith. Hell, even Guts responded with the iconic quote, "Are you a homo?" Even Guts was questioning this entire scene, but hear me out. Hear me out. I say this is the epitome of heterosexual. A man telling another man that you want him is the least gay thing you can say. Why is that? Because wanting something, even men, is pretty normal. It's just natural curiosity. Griffith saw a really strong man who puts himself in life and death situations and didn't even back down against Griffith. Who wouldn't want him at that point? Wanting someone strong by your side, especially a man, is just basic human instincts to aid us on our survival. So good for Griffith. If Griffith had said he wanted Guts to hold his hand or something, now that's truly gay. But no point added here. So far, he only has 2 homosexual points. Still straight. Let's continue with more Griffith scenes. After being accused of being a homo, their second fight starts, and this is where homosexuality truly shines. This fight is pretty cool and all, but then there's a moment that made me go, wow. This beautiful double page spread. Amazing symbolism by Miura. You can tell how Miura drew the clouds being parted all around Griffith and the light shining on him, depicting him as this godly being, foreshadowing the future. But then the gay part of my brain starts thinking, look at that. He's standing on Guts' sword. And as I said before, Guts' sword can be a metaphor for his dick. Griffith is standing on dick, not business. There was no reason for Griffith to jump on top of his sword, as he could have just moved to the side, but he didn't. Thus, this adds 1 point, adding up to 3 homosexual points, now making Griffith semi-gay. Also, I want to point out, Griffith jumping on top of Guts' sword, and the way Guts responded was by putting Griffith's sword in his mouth. This fight has some kinky ass foreplay. But moving on. After this, Guts then joins the Band of the Hawk, and Griffith entrusts him with a special mission. Nothing gay here, but after the mission is over, we get another iconic moment, the yaoi shower battle. Again, Guts and Griffith be having some kinky ass battles. But the question is this, is Griffith asking Guts to join him to shower gay? Nope, nothing wrong with asking the homie to shower with you. I want my friend squeaky clean, nothing wrong with that. And if you're wondering, but I called it the yaoi shower battle, indicating this scene has some homosexuality to it. And well, yes, you're not wrong, but it's not the shower that makes it gay, it's something else. And it wasn't Griffith asking Guts to join him, but rather it was Guts wearing clothes that turned this moment so gay. 2 men nude in the shower playing, perfectly normal. It's a shower battle after all, perfectly natural to be nude, but instead we have 1 man nude while the other refusing to remove his clothes, showing there's something to look into. And Griffith, being the perfect observer that he is, who spots details normal people never notice, like he literally guessed Guts' entire motivation on why he fights the way he does. The fact he saw how Guts has responded to Griffith's actions so far, to the point Guts even asked if he's a homo, indicating Guts is worried about Griffith pulling off some gay heist. And well, he is. A man asking someone to join someone for a shower is straight, but Griffith Griffith knows what Guts views this as, and Griffith still does it anyway and escalates it further by still forcing him to join the shower battle by throwing water onto him, showing Griffith is expecting something out of this, thus adding the yaoi vibes. Hence, this now gives Griffith 4 gay points. We then flash forward 3 years and we get a talk between Guts and Griffith, with him recalling their second battle, saying that's how fights should be, while blushing, by the way. Yeah, this is gay. Nothing to argue, as he's recalling him jumping on that sword of Guts. So yeah, another point, which now gives Griffith 5 points. Then comes the entire Zod situation, where Griffith comes to save Guts despite putting himself and his dream in danger, all to save Guts. This by far is one of the most wholesome bromance between them both. No indication of gay to be found. All I see is someone willing to save his friend because he's important to him. And he's not even offering some weak excuses like, oh, you're a valuable soldier, Guts, that's why I saved you. That will make the scene gay, indicating some hidden agenda, but nope. Griffith says the opposite, where instead he asks Guts, do I need a reason to help you? Showing there's nothing to hide, and how he really just cares for him, and it's one of my favorite Griffith moments. Right after that, we get a Griffith and Charlotte scene. And you're probably thinking, it's heterosexual, right? He's with a woman. Well, I'm here to tell you that this is the epitome of gay, as Griffith clearly has no sexual attraction to her and is clearly using her as a stepping stone to achieve his dream, and there's nothing gayer than pretending to like a woman. So he now has 6 points, thus making him gay now. And once again, there's another Charlotte scene with Griffith pretending to be interested in her, adding another point, 7 points, which brings us into one of the funniest and most homosexual moments in Berserk. Griffith calling for Guts and asking him to murder someone for him. You're probably thinking, what? How? Well, first of all, Griffith clearly could have called Guts when he wasn't busy. Instead, he called him over while late at night while he was doing stuff, and even cleaned up and dressed up and gave himself a ponytail while filled in a dark room filled with books, trying to impress Guts, and then proceeded to give him the biggest hint by showing him this sex book and telling Guts, hey, can you wait a while before I tell you what I want? Nah, I know what you are, Griffith. This is a man who wanted to be fucked all night, as he could have gotten straight to the point and told Guts what he wanted, which would have taken a minute or two. As we literally see, it only took some sentences. But no, he made Guts sit there for what looks like hours, waiting for Guts to notice his look and how smart he is, hoping Guts would do something, thus adding another point. He now has 8 points. Right after, we get another Griffith and Charlotte scene, and once again, another point added, as he keeps pretending to be interested in this woman. I literally feel like that one tweet, leave her alone, get a job. So now he has 9 points, which then brings us to the Casca chapters, where we get a flashback and see Griffith in the early days, and we get a moment with Griffith that became a meme. $20 is $20, as he sleeps with this old man for money. Now, is it gay for a man to sleep with another man? No, it isn't. Context is important, and this is one of them. I myself can imagine myself sleeping with men for many reasons that will confine to my heterosexuality, one of them being for money. If one offered a decent amount, sure, I'd consider it. $20 is $20. Not like I'm going to be thinking how sexy this man is while I'm sleeping with him, but no, instead I'm going to be, I can't wait for that money. And this is one of those instances, as Griffith has no feelings whatsoever for this man, as we are even shown this later, with him saying it and killing him, thus not gay. And besides, a man having sex with another man is the least gay thing out there, as it can be excused in many ways. Now, a man kissing a man in the forehead, now we're talking. That one can't be excused as much, and is by far in the top 5 gayest things out there, so I'm not adding a point for Griffith sleeping with a man. Moving on to the next scene, where the flashback ends and Griffith returns to see Guts and Casca, who just survived the 100-man battle, and Guts slaps Casca's ass, which leaves Griffith in disbelief. Now, an expression can say a million things, and this one right here says a lot, as I just know he's saying in his head, the fuck? After all the gay signals I gave you, Guts, you do this to her, not me? So another point added, making it 10 points now. And after the entire capture of Doldry that occurs, they return to Midland to celebrate, and the king announces the Band of the Hawk are going to be part of the army, thus making them nobles, making Griffith one step closer to his dream. And notice how not one smile from Griffith. Instead, he's searching for Guts, and upon seeing Guts smile, does Griffith smile, showing us Guts truly did shine much more to him than his dream. And this right here is peak yaoi. We know how much his dream means to him, and to see him casting aside his dream and instead look for Guts is peak yaoi. Now some are probably thinking, this is just some real bromance going on, two homies smiling at each other, nothing gay. But here's my argument, this is the homosexual effect. Guts being happy at Griffith being closer to his dream is just being an amazing friend, and it's normal to be happy to see your friend succeed. But as we notice, Griffith wasn't smiling, not even happy. But then the homosexual effect happens. Him seeing Guts happy immediately simulated so many emotions within him, bringing out this smile that's fueled by the homosexual effect, thus making this a gay smile. So Griffith has 11 points now. Next scene is the whole Griffith faking his death and bullying Humpty Dumpty and having this heartfelt conversation with Guts about if he thinks he's cruel as he leaves all the dirty work to Guts. Man, I love them so much. And no, this is just peak bromance going on here, as he's just opening up about his fears and worries to Guts. He has no hidden agenda in this, and like I said, when Griffith is hiding some hidden agenda, it's what makes it gay. Thus, this scene right here is just an honest, heartfelt conversation with Guts. Nothing gay here. Which brings us to Guts leaving the Band of the Hawk, and we get a round 3 between Guts and Griffith. And yup, this scene has gay Griffith written all over it. If I can't have him, no one else can. The first time we literally see his inner monologue, by the way, and it's all about Guts and how he will be the only one to have him and no one else can. Yeah, 12 points. No argument to be made here. And now it's time for perhaps the biggest questionable moment in Berserk. Griffith sleeping with Charlotte, but the entire time he was thinking of Guts. People immediately jump to gay, 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 but hear me out. What if I told you this isn't gay at all? Griffith is just capable of multitasking. Most men can barely think of one thing while doing anything. Like right now, all I'm thinking about is how I will feel to think about Guts while sleeping with someone. But Griffith, he was a born multitasker. Griffith was thinking of trauma, Guts, and Charlotte. He didn't think of Guts because he wanted some gay inspiration. He thought of Guts because Guts was the reason he was doing all this and felt betrayed because he was hurt. You ever been so mad at a person you can't stop thinking about them even while doing something completely unrelated to them? Well, this is what I call enemy brain. Griffith doesn't want to kiss Guts in this moment. He wants to ruin Guts for leaving him. Thus, why he was thinking of him the entire time. Nothing gay here at all. So there will be no point added here. Next is Griffith being in a prison for a year, where the only thing sustaining him and keeping him sane was thinking about Guts. This is peak gay right here. And to top it off, to end this long monologue of his, he screamed Guts' name in his mind. Thinking about a man and it being what keeps you sane is semi-gay, but screaming a man's name in your mind is full-on gay. And the reason why is because as you scream that name inside your mind, that man is inside reverberating inside your whole body as you scream his name inside your head, which is why I'm adding a homosexual point here. He now has 13 points. Next scene is Guts and the rest coming to save Griffith, and they are reunited, and the first thing Griffith wanted to do was strangle Guts, but he changed his mind once Guts gave him a hug and cried for him. Had Griffith kept his bitter yaoi hatred and still went for the strangle, it wouldn't be gay, but the fact he changed his mind once Guts gave him a hug shows how easily that switch flipped. Going from insane hatred to wanting him shows how easily susceptible Griffith is to gay actions. Thus, another point added. He now has 14 points. And after they rescue Griffith, Guts and the rest fight enemies sent by the king. And despite Griffith not being able to talk or having any dialogue or inner monologue, doesn't mean the gay has run out. Instead, it's intensified. The way he looks at Guts and and Casca throughout all these battles, with him being so jealous and mad at Guts and Casca being a couple, is peak gay hater, which finally brings us to 15 homosexual points, which now means Griffith is super gay, which means I'm gonna breeze through the rest of the Griffith scenes and skip some, as we already got to 15 points, showing he's super gay, so looking at more won't change anything, but I do want to speak on some scenes that I feel are worthy of mentioning, or debunking, or agreeing with. One being after the entire WoW situation, where we see Guts as giving Griffith some back action and putting on his armor. This is a heterosexual scene, as nothing is better than receiving action from your friend from the back. Lets me know he's got my back, and this is what this scene is about, that despite everything Guts went through with Griffith, he will always have his back. Another scene is when Griffith ran away after hearing Guts and Casca talk, and he ended up falling down the wagon and entered a dream where he's living a peaceful life with Casca. This right here is one of the gayest scenes, by the way. Griffith got so destroyed over Guts leaving and knowing he will never have him that he subconsciously had to make himself straight in a dream, as that was the only way for him to continue on living. Now there are more Griffith scenes I can talk about, but talking about Griffith for this long is gonna give me a brain aneurysm, and honestly, Golden Age Griffith is just that ex that pretends not to care, and I already achieved my goal finding out how homo is Griffith, and well, as many might have expected, he's super gay. And as much as I do love talking about how gay he is, what makes all this actually hit is that it's not just about sexuality or yaoi vibes or how many metaphorical dicks Griffith has stood on. It's about the emotional depth of Guts and Griffith's bond. Their relationship, while it does have bromance or rivalry or even romantic tension, it also goes beyond it, that one just can't describe their relationship as purely gay. Griffith thought he was untouchable, that nothing could shake him, his dream was everything. He spoke about how he knew he was different from everyone else because everyone he met treated him differently until he met Guts. He's the only person who didn't treat Griffith any differently. As funny as the "are you a homo" line is, that line goes to emphasize how Guts treats Griffith different. He treats him like anyone else. No one has ever said that to Griffith before, despite how crude it is. Was Guts being a little homophobic? Sure, but again, further emphasizing how Guts wasn't afraid to say what's on his mind to Griffith. This is what made Guts different. Everyone expects Griffith to make the correct choices every time. Everyone sees him as this perfect leader, this perfect being. They all view Griffith as this pillar of strength, and it isolated Griffith so much. Everyone around Griffith created this identity for him and didn't really allow him to be who he really is. As long as Griffith has others, he can be who he truly is. Who is Griffith's pillar? Who's holding his weight, his troubles, his homosexuality? Guts was. I said was, as he was. Guts questioned him, fights him, speaks his mind, is honest with him. He steers Griffith towards his dreams and reaffirms him. This is a path towards your dream, isn't it? There's so much beauty, toxicity, sadness, betrayal, misunderstanding between them, and it's one of the best relationships I've seen in media that I will one day fully dive into. As this video, I just wanted to have some fun, so I hope you enjoyed this wacky video of mine and look forward to more Berserk videos. Bye!